From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Peter Murphy begins now.
Good evening. There's been an astonishing development in the delivery of the new Spirit of Tasmania ferries. As the war of words rages on, the state government has requested and accepted the immediate resignation of Michael Granger, the chair of ferry operator TT Line. The swift exit comes just hours after he'd announced he was looking forward to setting the record straight in a parliamentary inquiry next month.
It's a project that hasn't been able to navigate clear of controversy. Now change at the helm, at the direct hand of the government.
We as a government determined that it was important to have a change of direction and get the focus on only one thing, and that is delivery of this project.
Claiming the relationship between the government and the now former TT Line chair Michael Granger had become untenable. The Transport Minister backing the rest of the board.
I have confidence that those that remain on the board will help us and the people of Tasmania deliver, which is a game-changing project.
On Monday, Deputy Premier Michael Ferguson told a parliamentary hearing he'd been kept in the dark about delays to Devonport's berth upgrades needed to accommodate the new ships. Yesterday in a statement, then Chair Michael Granger disputed elements of the hearing and said he was looking forward to setting the record straight and that TT Line will be providing factually correct evidence to the Public Accounts Committee. Just hours later, the government said it had requested and accepted Granger's resignation, effective immediately.
Stop the blame game. That is what we sought to stop, and we believe that has been achieved.
It's still possible that Michael Granger could front the inquiry. Opposition leader Dean Winter says he has written to committee members, urging them to request his attendance.
Mr Granger has clearly got a story to tell. Mr Granger said he wants to set the record straight. After he said he wanted to set the record straight, he was sacked.
Labor isn't the only one unhappy with the government. In a statement, Senator Jackie Lambie said Deputy Premier Michael Ferguson's career has been devoid of accountability and responsibility, calling for him to resign immediately.
I think Minister Ferguson, Deputy Premier Ferguson, has handled this situation exceptionally well.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
It's considered a welcome boost in the fight against climate change. The state government rolling out several grants for Tasmanian businesses keen to help tackle the issue. The Community Climate Change Action Fund providing $350,000 aimed at making a difference at a local level.
Grants available from $2,000 up to $20,000, so quite a range of opportunity exists for some of those community groups and non-profits.
A lot of people worried about climate change, but they don't know where to start and what to do, and I think this will offer them some of those outlets to be able to do something.
Applications close in September. TasNetworks says the safety of Tasmanians will be at the forefront when workers plan to strike next week. From next Tuesday, workers will cease all planned work over pay disparities and an increase in power prices. TasNetworks says while the industrial action is designed to disrupt, employees will still prioritise emergency situations.
So the unions have agreed that they'll prioritise those types of calls, car accidents versus power poles, etc. So the priority is to keep the public safe through this time and prioritise all our resources accordingly.
Normal service is expected to return next Sunday. And thick fog blanketing Launceston Airport this morning resulted in delays to flights arriving from the mainland. A Qantas air freight service was forced to return to Melbourne, although no flights were actually cancelled. A Virgin Australia flight and another from QantasLink were forced to circle over Campbelltown for more than an hour before being cleared to land. On a more positive note, the Launceston Airport is set to undergo a major upgrade after a very encouraging past 12 months. The changes expected to provide passengers with additional creature comforts while waiting for their flights.
Growing and expanding, Launceston Airport set to provide more options for travellers passing through.
That's a good indication of the underlying strength of the northern Tasmania economy.
New food, beverage and retail tenders awarded this month will see a refresh of offerings in the terminal with a greater focus on bringing a taste of Tassie.
Launceston is a city, a UNESCO city of gastronomy, and we're very focused on ensuring that the city of gastronomy here is brought to life through the airport, which is the gateway for departing and arriving passengers.
The departures hall will be opened up to provide more lounges and seating and give passengers additional areas to chill out before they board, while the popular Launceston store will also be revamped.
And over the next 6 to 9 months, there'll be a complete upgrade of those facilities here at the airport, both in the arrivals hall and the departures hall.
The work's all part of a planned multi-million-dollar redevelopment of the terminal, which will take place over the next decade.
Just a few weeks ago, we announced record growth over the last 12 months to the airport. So over 1.4 million passengers, which is the first time in the history of the airport, but also we're one of the fastest recovering airports in Australia post-COVID.
Keeping Tassie firmly on the map. Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
Gold Coast cabaret ensemble Dracula's has returned to Tasmania for its national tour, and it's back with even more bite. The latest show, Sanctuary, a risque spectacular, offering a night of blood and burlesque.
It's time to put away the garlic. Dracula's in town. The Day of the Dead has arrived and you're invited. From death-defying acrobatics, burlesque and puppetry, this blood-sucking spectacular will have you thirsty for more.
Sanctuary is set around sort of medical sort of institute, so you've got all these mad vampires that are running the asylum.
After successful previous shows, they've returned to Tasmania with a completely revamped set.
Made everything bigger and better, completely new songs, cast, costumes, acts.
The new show featuring fangs, feathers and rock music, set to get the blood pumping. The cast confident you could die of laughter.
There's a lot that you probably won't be expecting, and that's what we like to do with Dracula's.
With a few adult-only themes.
Themes are quite adult, but I think that there's something in there that absolutely everyone will enjoy.
Amongst the performers is a Launceston local. Amber Flaherty is one of the dancers in the Travelling Roadshow. Now she's resurrecting her hometown roots.
It's so great to come back to where I grew up and get to perform for all of my friends and family and everyone that's still here.
The show will come to life tomorrow at Hobart's Rest Point before taking centre stage up in northern Tasmania on August 29. Rebecca Gaidaneris, 7 Tasmania News.
Before Symmons Plains, nearby Longford was Tasmania's iconic motorsport circuit, and a third-generation driver who'll be racing the Super Sprint tomorrow has a close connection to the town. His grandfather once crashed into the pub.
Pulling up a pew in Longford's Country Club Hotel, Will Davison is well aware of the place this town has in motorsport history. The bar, after all, is named after his grandfather Lex.
It's so unchanged here in so many ways, so the imagination grows wilder and wilder every year for me to think back of the legends that raced here and the tales that this town tells.
Lex Davison was a 4-time Australian Grand Prix winner who had a storied relationship with the iconic Longford circuit. Failing to finish in 1963, he's seen here hitching a ride back with race winner Bruce McLaren. The year prior, he'd lost control on a bend and smashed into the pub, coming inside for a brandy before watching the rest of the race with the punters.
I can picture in my mind in a Cooper Climax coming over the rise, hard on the brakes in front of the pub here, how light the cars would have been on those tyres. And he's thought, wow, how have I walked out of this thing? I'm going to go and order myself a brandy.
Lex started a racing family dynasty, but whether the bug will pass to a 4th generation and Will's son Dash remains to be seen.
I would not be pushing motorsport on him, but I'm not helping my case running him around making race car noises around the house every day.
While Longford had a penchant for wild crashes, so too does Symmons Plains, and this weekend will likely be no different.
A bit of uncertainty over the weather, looking like there's some rain sort of lingering around, so we're going to have to be on our toes.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
The North Festival is expanding this year as 60 Launceston businesses prepare to showcase their wares. They'll be offering workshops, tours and special menus for the event, which comes at the perfect time for venues struggling through a quiet winter.
And this year we've brought in Sample the North, which is a new addition to the program, so people can wander around the CBD and have little tastings of things from different venues as well.
I guess I can speak for a lot of hospitality venues in Lonnie. This winter's probably been a bit harder for most, so anything we can do to get new customers in, it's a big positive for us.
North runs for 2 weeks from October 9. Tasmanian scientists have stumbled upon an unusual sight at a marine park in Bass Strait. Thousands of sleeping sharks were captured on camera, blanketing the sea floor. But what researchers have been excited about is that all of them were female.
It's a slumber party like no other. Sleepy Port Jackson sharks, for as far as the eye can see, nestled together on the floor of Bass Strait's Beagle Marine Park. But this gathering is for girls only.
Now, one of the really interesting things that we're able to discover is it looks like an aggregation site of mainly females.
Thousands of them. Scientists from IMAS made the discovery using a remote-controlled underwater robot. The scenes relayed to a research vessel above.
And this is a little robot with 7 cameras on it that's able to capture the fish life and all the cool things living on the seafloor.
We get to go down deeper than people have gone really before. And so we're getting a first look at a lot of these ecosystems.
The sharks were first spotted in the area 6 years ago. Scientists say stumbling across them again is like finding a needle in a haystack.
A very, very exciting moment when we managed to traverse over these sharks and spend a bit of time with the robot yesterday, filming them laying around on the seafloor.
It's believed the snoozing sharks had found a place to feed before the journey north to lay their eggs. But it's the sheer number that's thrilling scientists.
Divers often see these sharks, gatherings of 2, 3, maybe 5, occasionally 10. To see them in hundreds to thousands aggregated in one area is really quite special.
Why males weren't invited to this sleepover remains a mystery. Melissa Raitt, 7 Tasmania News.
2 years after his last T20 game for the Canes, former Test skipper Tim Payne is taking on the job of head coach for the Adelaide Strikers. He's stepping up from the assistant's role on a 2-year deal after predecessor Jason Gillespie bowed out. It's unclear whether it'll affect his newly minted job as Jack Jumpers head of high performance. Accustomed to being in the driver's seat, Scott Roth's hauling his squad towards a second championship with an out-of-the-box pre-season activity. Players trading in basketballs for boxes and even fish, as club sponsors give them an opportunity to leave their comfort zones.
Pre-season is one to get everyone back acclimated to being around each other and just integrating ourselves and our culture and just getting back on point in those areas.
New signing Gujok Gak is taking full advantage of the unusual team-building exercise as he finds his place in the Ant Army.
It's a team I've always watched, for sure, from afar. I love the way they've done things, for sure, and it's great to be a part of it now.
One player is yet to join the ranks for pre-season. Scott Roth says Will Magnay will be easing back into training upon his return from Paris. A blockbuster clash between ladder leaders North Launceston and Clarence is being billed as a grand final preview. Having beaten the Roos twice already this season, the tables may be turned on the undefeated Bombers, who travel to Clarence for the first time. It's an important hit out for both sides, who now have sights firmly set on the postseason.
I think this week's just another opportunity. Clarence are a really strong team. They've challenged us a few times this year, and at this point in time, we sit 1 and 2 for a reason.
Unless something catastrophic goes wrong, they're locked away. So yeah, it's a little bit of we get to see them, we get to experiment a little bit as well.
Coming off a bye, the Demons are still searching for their 3rd win of the season as they prepare to take on Lauderdale. Anton De Pasquale will be hitting Symmons Plains on a mission to get his Dick Johnson racing team their 1st win of the season. The crew's tweaked everything they can on the cars. It's now up to him and teammate Will Davison to find that 1% on the track.
That's what we're going for. It is very difficult, super tight, so you're only looking for something small, but trying to get it in that window is really important, and you can see when it does, results come afterwards. So we're close, but not quite there, so hopefully something unlocks this weekend.
Launceston fans had their chance to meet the drivers this afternoon at a signing session at the National Automobile Museum.
Good evening. Hobart and Burnie both 15 today, 17 for Launceston and Devonport 16. Flinders Island saw the state's top recorded today, 21, 17 for King Island, Friendly Beaches and St Helens, 16 recorded at Smithton, 15 the common temperature for Lowhead, Maria Island, Grove, Ouse and Strawn, with Lyowini reaching 14 degrees. The satellite image here shows a thick band of mid to high level cloud moving over the state from the northwest. As a large band of cloud moves over Tasmania and also along the coast of SA and Victoria. Tomorrow a high will cross western and central parts of the mainland. North to north-easterly winds 10 to 20 knots, increasing to 30 knots at times about the west throughout the day, with westerly swells at 2 metres. We have a strong wind warning for coastal waters between Sandy Cape around to east of Flinders Island. Rain for Hobart and Huonville tomorrow 17, showery in Campania 18. Increasing showers for Launceston 18, also rain for Devonport 16 and much the same in Georgetown 17's the top. Rain will continue to fall towards the west, Burnie 14, 16 the high for Strawn and 15 in Wynyard. No reprieve from wet weather towards the east, 17 forecast for St Helens, Swansea and Port Arthur. Now we can expect showers on Saturday, mainly about the east and southeast. Light showers will continue into Sunday, although less likely in the north. And on Monday, fine apart from light showers developing about the northwest, although remaining cool with 14 the state's high. Here's what's happening tomorrow towards the mainland. A foggy start for Canberra, followed by showers 17, possible showers in Sydney 21, showery also for Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne. Cloudy conditions right now, Hobart 12 degrees, Launceston 13 and 12 also for Devonport. Bit of wet weather hanging around tomorrow, Murph. I'd probably be changing those Crocs that you've got on.
You know I don't own any Crocs and never will. I don't care how many people tell me how comfortable they are. Thanks, Kaya. That's all our news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.